Psalm 35 is a raw, unapologetic cry to God, a warfare prayer specifically designed for those moments when you're facing hidden enemies, betrayals, and attacks from shadows you can't even touch. This isn't a gentle plea for peace, it's a direct petition for divine intervention when human justice has failed, or when the enemy is so cunning, so concealed, that you can't even identify them, let alone fight back on your own terms. Imagine the feeling, that chilling certainty that someone is working against you, subtly undermining your efforts, spreading rumors behind your back, or plotting your downfall, yet you can't quite put your finger on who or how. This isn't about open conflict, it's about the insidious poison of hidden animosity. This is precisely the crucible from which Psalm 35 was forged, born from the heart of a man who knew betrayal intimately. King David, the shepherd boy turned monarch, was no stranger to enemies. He faced giants, armies, and even his own rebellious son. But this psalm speaks to a deeper, more insidious kind of adversary, those who pretend friendship while digging pitfalls in the dark. It's a prayer for when your back is against the wall, and the world seems to have turned its face from you. It's for when you feel that sting of betrayal, that gnawing suspicion that someone you trusted, or someone you barely knew, is secretly working against your peace. What do you do when the attack is unseen, the weapon a whispered lie, the battlefield the very ground you stand on? David doesn't hold back. He starts with a direct, almost visceral plea. Contend, O Lord, with those who contend with me. Fight against those who fight against me! This isn't some polite request, it's a warrior's cry, inviting the ultimate defender into the fray. He asks God to take up shield and buckler, to stand as his personal protector, to draw the spear and javelin against those who pursue him. He's not asking for a mild inconvenience for his enemies. He's asking for God to actively engage, to become his champion in a battle he cannot wage alone. Why such intensity? Because the hidden enemy often aims for your very soul, your reputation, your sense of safety. They want to dismantle you from the inside out, often using psychological warfare that leaves no physical scars, but leaves you feeling exposed, vulnerable, and questioning your own sanity. David understood this. He knew the anguish of being unjustly accused, of having his motives twisted, of being hunted for sport by those he had once shown kindness. He knew the feeling of being entrapped by deceit. He then moves into what can feel like uncomfortable territory for many, the imprecatory prayers. Let them be put to shame and dishonor who seek after my life. Let them be turned back and humiliated who devise evil against me. This isn't about wishing ill on another in a spirit of personal vengeance. Instead, it's a profound cry for divine justice, an appeal to God's character as a righteous judge who sees all, even the hidden plots. It's a recognition that some situations are beyond human arbitration, and only God can set things right. It's saying, God, you see what they're doing in secret. Let their secret schemes be exposed and thwarted, not by my hand but by yours. Imagine a friend you deeply trust, someone you've shared your vulnerabilities with. Then, through a series of subtle hints and strange coincidences, you begin to suspect they are not who they seem. Perhaps they're sharing your confidences, twisting your words, or even actively trying to sabotage your relationships or career, all while maintaining a facade of loyalty. This is the sting of the hidden enemy. This psalm becomes a sanctuary for that pain, a place to lay down the burden of suspicion and entrust it to the only one who truly knows the hearts of all people. David continues, "Let their way be dark and slippery, with the angel of the Lord pursuing them." This is not an act of hatred, but a desperate plea for protection. When your enemies are insidious, their plans are often cloaked in darkness. David asks for that darkness to be illuminated, for their paths to become unmanageable, so they cannot successfully carry out their malice. It's a prayer for disruption, for the very forces they rely on to turn against them, preventing their evil from coming to fruition. It's an appeal for divine intervention that creates a protective barrier around the one who is being targeted. He then articulates the profound injustice. For without cause they hid their net for me, without cause they dug a pit for my soul. This phrase echoes the deepest pain of betrayal. It's not about retaliation for a wrong done to them, it's malice for malice's sake, often stemming from envy, insecurity, or pure wickedness. This without cause is crucial. It underscores the victim's innocence and highlights the enemy's unjust motivation. It makes the plea to God even more urgent and righteous. Have you ever felt targeted for no discernible reason, simply because of who you are or what you have achieved? That hollow feeling of being preyed upon. Then comes the pivot, the moment where David asks for the tables to be turned. Let destruction come upon him unaware, and let the net that he hid ensnare him. Let him fall into that very destruction. This isn't a call for violent retribution, but a prayer for the enemy to fall into their own trap. It's poetic justice, a recognition that God's way of evening the scales often involves the perpetrator being caught in the very schemes they devised for others. It's a powerful declaration of faith that evil will ultimately consume itself. Amidst this intense petition, David shifts to praise. But my soul shall exult in the Lord. It shall rejoice in his salvation. This isn't a quick change of heart, but a deep spiritual truth. Even in the midst of battle, the believer's ultimate trust is not in their own strength, or even in the outcome of the fight, but in the character of God. This exultation is born from the confidence that God will act, that he will deliver, and that his justice as will prevail. It's a testament to unwavering faith, even when everything around you screams despair. He continues, all my bones shall say, O Lord, who is like you, who delivers the afflicted from him who is too strong for him, who delivers the afflicted and the needy from him who robs him. This is not just a mental affirmation, it's a whole, being recognition of God's unique power. When David says, all my bones, he means every fiber of his being acknowledges God's incomparable ability to rescue the vulnerable from overwhelming forces. It's a deep, gut-level conviction that God is the ultimate protector of the downtrodden. When all human avenues are exhausted, this becomes the anchor. David then returns to the specifics of betrayal, illustrating the psychological warfare he faced. Malicious witnesses rise up. They ask me of things that I do not know. This describes the pain of false accusations, of having words put in your mouth, of being slandered and lied about by those who fabricate stories. This isn't just an inconvenience. It's an attack on one's character, their very essence. The hidden enemy often operates through deception and manipulation of truth, poisoning perceptions, and turning others against you. What makes David's plea even more poignant is his contrast of their malice with his own compassion. But, as for me, when they were sick, my clothing was sackcloth, I afflicted my soul with fasting. I went about as though I grieved for my friend, or my brother, as one who laments his mother, I bowed down in mourning. He recalls how he mourned for these very individuals, showed them empathy and concern in their time of need. This magnifies their betrayal, highlighting their cold-hearted ingratitude and the depth of their unwarranted animosity. It's a powerful argument for divine intervention. Look, God, I showed them love, and this is how they repay me. The psalm culminates in another impassioned plea for God to rise up flying. Stir up yourself and awake to my defense, my God and my Lord, to my cause! It's a fervent, almost demanding invocation, urging God to not merely observe, but to actively intervene. David knows that only God's omnipotence can truly unravel the intricate web of deceit spun by hidden enemies. He isn't asking for a small favor, he's asking for God to fully engage, to put an end to the injustice and suffering. He asks God to vindicate him, according to his own righteousness, to prevent the enemy from rejoicing in his downfall. This psalm is far more than a historical document. It's a living, breathing testament to divine justice. It's an empowering framework for prayer when you find yourself in the invisible crosshairs of unseen malice. It gives voice to the unspoken anguish of betrayal and provides a pathway to entrust the battle to the one true judge. It transforms silent suffering into a powerful, confident appeal, reminding us that no hidden enemy, no secret plot, no whispered lie escapes the watchful eye of our defending God. This is not about seeking revenge, but about seeking ultimate vindication and knowing that justice, in its purest form, will ultimately prevail.